Hello, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages. Full Range Media proudly presents WWE Wrestling Recap for July 14th or July 15th, 16th, and 17th of July of 2018. We had Extreme Rules over the weekend, and I hope you guys liked that cool little intro that I just did. It was kind of a Road Dogg and badass Billy Gunn tribute, I guess. But we did have Extreme Rules over the weekend, and we're going to cover what happened on Extreme Rules and Raw and SmackDown for this week. And they were actually a lot of fun shows to watch, a lot of cool matches to see, and a lot of cool Extreme Rules matches, a couple comebacks, and a couple of title changes, and a couple of other things that I would like to talk about. So this might be a long one, so sit back, relax, and just enjoy the show. We'll start off with Extreme Rules, and we'll just go over some of the matches I think are pertinent to talk about. And the first match that they had on was the B Team versus Matt Hardy and Bray Wyatt. There wasn't a stipulation, which is strange. It's supposed to be Extreme Rules. Every match has a stipulation, but for some reason they didn't have a stipulation in this match. But, man, I mean, rumors running around is that Vince McMahon wasn't actually at this Extreme Rules. I know I'm not supposed to talk about rumors now, but I'm saying this because this Extreme Rules was actually a really good Extreme Rules. A lot of cool stuff happened. Timing was on. A lot of cool shit happened in this pay-per-view. So him not being there is maybe something that's the bright side, that they can actually run a show without him being there, which is kind of cool. But this match was actually really, really good, and they had two really talented people in Curtis Axel and Bo Dallas actually had a really good match for the Raw Tag Team Champions, and they did end up winning the match. And to a lot of people's surprise, I saw a lot of shocked faces in the audience, and I was shocked myself when it actually happened. I was expecting them to give him a good run, but then kind of lose it at the end. They had their big streak, and now they're just, going with it. But I mean, the streak's still going ever since Miz left, and they've become a tag team on Raw. They haven't lost yet, so we have to wait and see what's on the horizon for Curtis Axel and Bo Dallas. But for right now, it looks like it's pretty promising. They did a really good job in this match. They're both really good wrestlers, but they never had their push, and I never really understood why Curtis Axel or Bo Dallas ever got their pushes. You know, they could be funny guys, they could be comic relief characters, and they're actually really good wrestlers. So I mean, we'll have to wait and see what happens with them. But overall, great match. I'm glad B Team won. I'm glad they actually had something. Their streak keeps on going, and they're actually getting a nice little push. The next match that they had on the card was Finn Balor versus Baron Corbin. That one was okay. It actually wasn't as good as the first match was. Finn Balor ended up winning the match, period, and that was just kind of eh. But the next match, I want to kind of go into a little bit more opinion. I'm not gonna go into the match, but I want to go into more of my opinion in this match, and it was Carmella versus Asuka. I'm just gonna say that Carmella won the match, okay? And is it me, or are they just like teasing this poor woman in Asuka about having this title? She hasn't won a match since WrestleMania. She deserves to have the WWE Women's Championship around her waist for at least 6 months, and they're not giving it to her, and I don't really understand why. They hyped her up to be this, monster wrestler, and she is. But they hyped her up to be this monster wrestler with undefeated streaks for 2 years in NXT and blah blah blah. And then she comes to WWE and she has a good streak for a while, but then she loses at WrestleMania and hasn't won since. It really doesn't make a whole lot of sense. Well, she's beaten, crappy people like James Ellsworth and stuff like that, but nothing really significant. No titles, no nothing. And this really is kind of insulting. And this is what they do. This is the perfect example of what crap WWE does to some of these characters and some of the wrestlers. They hype him up like crazy in NXT. They come over to WWE and they get turned to shit. I mean, you look at Bobby Roode, you look at Finn Balor, you look at Kevin Owens now. They're all former champions in NXT, and now they're trash. Finn Balor's going up against Baron Corbin in good matches, but I mean, he's not getting any title opportunities. He's not getting any main event headlines. He should be for a long time. Kevin Owens had his run as champion, which is fine. Bobby Roode is not, and I don't understand it. It just doesn't make any sense. It's very very stupid. It's very very annoying. I don't like the fact that he's not even getting an opportunity. I mean, he's getting Intercontinental Championship opportunities on Raw, but he loses it, which is freaking stupid. It just doesn't make it really any sense. So this is the perfect example of what they do. They bring somebody up and they slam them down, and they give the title Carmella. I mean, come on. You can't give a title to a better person than Carmella. You can't give it to Becky Lynch or somebody like that, or Naomi, for God's sake. I mean, there's at least three other girls on that show on SmackDown that deserve the championship more than Carmella does, and yet Carmella has it. It doesn't make any sense. It's really annoying, and they're just like insulting this woman. And I'm telling you, man, if they don't get her something soon, it's not really gonna work. And she's gonna leave, and people are gonna be pissed, and it's not gonna look good for WWE for signing this, superstar, New Japan wrestler, probably one of the best wrestlers in the world, and then they screw her over a million times. It's just really annoying. So I mean, I don't know, man. Hopefully they do something, and then James Ellsworth gets his dumb bum ass out of there, and she finally gets her title. So hopefully it happens at SummerSlam, because I know she's probably going to get another title match at SummerSlam. But I mean, who knows? Hopefully it'll be soon. We'll see what happens. The next match was actually Jeff Hardy versus Shinsuke Nakamura, and this was literally like a 30-second match. Nakamura walks in the ring, low blows Jeff Hardy, pins him for the win, does his Kin Sasha thing, and then that's it. So I'm not even going to talk about that. So then the next match they had was Braun Strowman versus Kevin Owens. And, I mean, it was okay. Don't get me wrong. It was basically just Braun Strowman dominating. There's another guy, Kevin Owens, who they kind of are burying for whatever reason. And I don't really understand why. He should be one of the main guys that is in contention for fighting Brock Lesnar at SummerSlam. And he's not. And I don't understand why. I mean, I don't understand why Braun Strowman's doing his thing, because he has money in the bank. But for me, it doesn't make any sense. It's strange to me. It really is. I don't know. Kevin Owens actually won the match because Braun Strowman pulled a Undertaker versus Mick Foley and threw him off the top of the cage. That was pretty cool, I'm not going to lie. But I'd say probably like the best part of the match, Kevin Owens actually handcuffs Braun Strowman to the ring, and Braun Strowman like rips the handcuffs out of the ring. It was pretty nasty, and then but I mean, it's just like Kevin Owens is not a comedy act, and they're putting him down as a comedy act, making Braun Strowman seem like this invincible force that nobody can touch, and then you have Kevin Owens who gets thrown off of cages and thrown off of ladders and shit, and is he actually volunteering to do this kind of stuff? Because it's kind of just weird. I don't know. Hopefully they change where he goes after this match, because I didn't see him on Raw, and hopefully he does something that's not Braun Strowman anymore. Hopefully Braun Strowman moves on to somebody else, but we'll just have to see what happens. And then after that they had Team Hell No versus the Bludgeon Brothers, and right before the match started, they went backstage and showed that Bludgeon Brothers jump Kane and Daniel Bryan. Apparently, this is the injury that Kane suffered was not fake. Apparently, he did suffer some sort of a leg injury before the pay-per-view happened, and the boot that he was actually wearing when he came out was actually real. And the Bludgeon Brothers ended up winning the match, but it was because it was basically just Daniel Bryan versus the Bludgeon Brothers the entire time. Kane came out at the end with a boot on, and it's not a fake boot. Apparently he did do something to his leg, which is probably going to be out for a while. I think they're kind of pushing more towards Miz versus Daniel Bryan at SummerSlam, which is going to be nice. They don't know what's happening with Daniel Bryan's contract at the moment, so rumors are flying around that he signed. Some say he didn't sign. Some say that he's, just waiting until the last possible second to sign. Don't really know, but there's a lot of things floating around, a lot of rumors floating around, but nobody really knows for sure. So hopefully they just have him fight against Miz at SummerSlam, because everybody wants to see that anyway. It's been building up for a long time. But we'll have to see what happens after that. But Kane is legitimately hurt, so I think Daniel's going to go back to singles competition for a while. And they had what I thought was going to be the main event of the night, and that was Roman Reigns versus Bobby Lashley. And thank the Lord, Bobby Lashley actually beat Roman Reigns in just an average match. A lot of the people were chanting boring, because it was actually really boring for a while. In the first maybe 10 minutes of the match, people were chanting boring, and then they started doing things after that. They probably got the message that people weren't really excited about this match, so they started doing more exciting things and talking to each other and stuff like that. So, it was an okay match. It wasn't very good, but, I mean, they're going to do it again at SummerSlam, or not SummerSlam, next week on Raw anyway. So, it doesn't really make a difference. But hopefully they make a better match next week on Raw than they would at this match, because this match is just not very good. After that, they had Nia Jax versus Alexa Bliss for the Raw Tag Team Championship. And Alexa Bliss came in and started doing her thing. Excuse me. And started doing her thing, and then Mickie James and Alexa Bliss started beating the crap out of Nia Jax with a chair, pinned her, game over. So, I mean, there wasn't really anything too special about this match. Ronda Rousey got involved and stuff like that, but we're gonna see Ronda Rousey versus Alexa Bliss at probably SummerSlam, and it's not gonna be anything really crazy. Hopefully Ronda actually wins the championship and just starts not rolling over people, but starting going after people and not fighting the same person over and over and over and over and over again. That's the thing now that I don't really understand, is that they always put the same two people going against each other. Shinsuke Nakamura versus AJ Styles has happened 17 times since SummerSlam, and that was only like 3 months ago. So hopefully they don't have her go up against one superstar over and over and over again. Hopefully they have her go up against multiple superstars. If she does win the championship at SummerSlam, we'll just have to wait and see. But then after that, in my opinion, was one of the best matches of the night, and that was Rusev versus AJ Styles. Man, Rusev impressed me in this match, man. It was it was long, and I don't think I've ever seen Rusev actually be in this long of a match before. And man, was it a good match. I mean, AJ Styles can make anybody look good. It's not hard to make Rusev look good because he's such a good character. But man, did he just destroyed everybody, man. Like this match, he killed this match. It was fantastic. Everything that he did, all the moves that he did, I was kind of sort of hoping that Rusev was going to win this match, maybe hold the title for a little while, and then AJ Styles wins it back at SummerSlam or something. But man, I was hoping that he would win this match. That would have been something, because he deserves to have a World Championship title. And he showed it to me anyway, that he can actually roll with the guy like AJ Styles now. And, so hopefully this will give him a good push. But in the end, Aiden English tried to interfere and actually cost Rusev the championship, which kind of sucks. So AJ Styles didn't end up winning that match. And then the next one was obviously the best match of the night, and that was Ziggler versus Rollins. I can't talk. It was Ziggler versus Rollins, and it was a 30-minute Iron Man match, and it didn't go back and forth. They changed it a little bit around when they did it, but they always end the same. The way that they do these Iron Man matches always end the exact same way. Either somebody gets off to a big lead and somebody comes back, and then at the very end it's tied. Or they have the one guy is like one point down. He hits a finisher with 10 seconds left and can't get to the guy in time to cover him for 3 seconds. It always happens like that, and that's exactly what happened this time around. And I thought that was gonna be it. They were doing a whole bunch of different crap. McIntyre got involved and got thrown out. And then at the end of the match, it was tied. And Kurt Angle comes out and says we don't want to tie, so we're gonna do sudden death. Drew McIntyre comes in, beats the crap out of Rollins, and then Ziggler pins him for the championship, and that was the end of the show. But overall, it was actually a pretty damn good show. It was fun to watch. It was a lot of good matches in there. The 30-second match between Jeff Hardy and Shinsuke Nakamura was bullshit because I actually did want to see that match, which they did do on SmackDown, and it was a hell of a lot better, but it didn't finish. And you guys know why if you watched it, but I'll tell you why in a minute if you didn't watch it. But that was pretty much it for Extreme Rules. Good good day, good everything. I liked it a lot. It was a lot of fun. And then we go on to Raw, and apparently, if you guys watched that last UFC fight that was on a week or so ago, Lesnar was there, and he got in the face of of Cormier, and pushed him around, and said, I'm gonna fight you and all that kind of shit. And apparently, he can't fight until next year anyway. But there he is, sitting over there, getting in his face, pushing him around, and he doesn't give a shit about the WWE at all. And that title on Raw is still irrelevant. The most important title on Raw is the Intercontinental Championship, which is stupid. But he doesn't care about Raw at all. He doesn't care about wrestling at all. He just wants to go back into UFC again and pass his drug test and do the things he wants to do there. So what they did is they gave him an ultimatum: if he doesn't show up on Raw, then they were going to strip him of his championship. Well, Raw starts, Heyman comes out, or Kurt Angle comes out, calls out Brock Lesnar. Heyman comes out, Brock's not there. So, Angle is about to strip Brock Lesnar of the championship when Heyman's like, oh yeah, well he'll defend at WrestleMania, blah, blah, blah. So apparently now we're going to see Brock Lesnar versus X at WrestleMania. We have no idea, or not WrestleMania, SummerSlam. So don't know who it's going to be yet. So then, 30 people come out and say, well, I want a chance at Brock Lesnar. No, I want a chance at Brock Lesnar. No, I want a chance at Brock Lesnar. No, I want a chance at Brock Lesnar. And it was like 6 different people. So, for some reason, Drew McIntyre came out there, which makes no sense. I don't really know why, but he did. So then they took all these 6 people and they were like, okay, we're going to have 2 triple threat matches. And the winners of these 2 triple threat matches are going to go against each other over next Monday on Raw, and we're gonna have a match to determine who's gonna fight against Brock Lesnar at SummerSlam. And of course, they didn't put Roman Reigns and Bobby Lashley in the same match. Why? Because they're gonna fight each other again. Duh. That match was so fucking garbage at the Extreme Rules that they're gonna fight each other again. So they had the first number 1 contenders triple threat match. It was Roman Reigns versus Finn Balor versus Drew McIntyre. And Roman Reigns ended up winning the match. Of course. What else is new? Nobody can touch him for whatever reason, even though he can't wrestle for shit. Finn Balor deserved to win that match, no questions asked. Even Drew McIntyre, I think, had it over Roman Reigns. He's been doing the same shit over and over and over and over and over and over and over again. It's like whenever you were in a match with Roman Reigns to determine who's going to be the number 1 contender for anything, it's always fucking Roman Reigns. It's annoying. It's ridiculous. It makes no sense. He's had so many opportunities at these championships against Brock Lesnar. It's ridiculous. And it's very, 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 very annoying. And I want to just shoot him in the mouth. But then they go on to another match between Bobby Roode and Dolph Ziggler. And this is the match that I was talking to you about before, about how they bury people when they come in from NXT. And they put them on the show, they hype them all up, and they turn them to shit. Bobby Roode came on Raw, especially on Raw. It doesn't happen really that much on SmackDown, but especially on Raw, 100%. Bobby Roode comes out, challenges Dolph Ziggler for the championship. Dolph Ziggler says no, but I'll fight you in a match not for the championship. Bobby Roode comes out, loses to Dolph Ziggler. Come on, like really? I mean, Bobby Roode is a 40-year-old guy. He's not gonna be around for too much longer. You can't give him a push. You give him a push in NXT, and you can't give him a push in WWE. It's just it's amazing to me. And I like how Dolph Ziggler calls him a kid when I'm pretty sure that Bobby Roode is older than Dolph Ziggler is. And if I was Bobby Roode, I'd go on the microphone and be like, dude, I'm older than you are. Why are you calling me a kid? But Dolph Ziggler ended up winning that match. It made no sense. They're giving zero momentum to Bobby Lashley, or not Bobby Lashley, Bobby Roode, and it makes no sense, and it's really, really annoying. But after that, they had Tyler Breeze versus Mojo Rawley. Who cares? After that, they had Dana Brooke and Alicia Fox versus Sasha Banks and Bayley. Again, who fucking cares? And then they had B Team versus Ascension, which, again, B Team still has their run, and they're now they're tag team champions. They're still undefeated, and they actually, I was hoping that Ascension would maybe get a little bit of a push because they deserve it also. Nope, didn't happen. They had B Team win again, and now they're still undefeated. So who knows who they're going to go against at this point. But after that, we saw they started doing a whole bunch of crap with Alexa Bliss again, and I swear to God, I thought she was going to come out and do the same thing she did the last two times that she won the championships. Oh, I'm so happy, and I want to thank all my fans, and haha, no, I don't. She did that shit the last two times. I swear I thought she was going to do that again, but she didn't. But she did start talking a lot of shit about Ronda Rousey and about Nia Jax and stuff like that, and then Rousey came out and she started going off on Mickie James. So now apparently they're gonna have her versus Alexa Bliss at SummerSlam. So that's gonna be interesting. We're probably not gonna see her until SummerSlam because we're only gonna see Ronda Rousey fight on pay-per-views and house shows, which house shows are never on TV. But I would like to see her not suspended anymore. I do actually want to see her come out and do stuff and work on promos and work on doing that kind of stuff because she doesn't know how to do promos. So why are they suspending her? That's the thing I don't understand this at all. They're suspending her, quote unquote, even though she should be on Raw doing promos, talking shit to whoever she's gonna fight against the next SummerSlam because she needs to practice her promos. And yet they suspend her for whatever reason. That doesn't really make a lot of sense. So then they had Authors of Pain versus Titus Worldwide. Who cares? Ember Moon versus Sarah Logan. Who cares? And then they had the last triple threat match of the night, which was Seth Rollins versus Elias versus Bobby Lashley. And why Elias is in this match, I have no idea. Him and Drew McIntyre don't really deserve to have the title shots. It should have been Kevin Owens in one of these matches. It wasn't. And so now they have Elias. So now of course, who wins the match? Bobby Lashley. I mean, So now they're gonna have Bobby Lashley versus Roman Reigns again next week on Raw, which is of course what's gonna happen. They better have a better match than they had at Extreme Rules because that match was fucking trash. So hopefully they have a good match again next on Raw. I swear to God, man, if Roman Reigns wins this match, I swear to God. Oh my God, I'm gonna flip my shit if he wins this match. I want to see Bobby Lashley versus Brock Lesnar so much more than I want to see Roman Reigns versus Brock Lesnar. I've seen that shit like 6 times in a row. I don't want to see it again. Please have Bobby Lashley win this match. Or have it be a triple threat match. That would be even better. I don't give a shit. Have Roman Reigns be in the match. I don't care. But have it be a triple threat match. I mean, that'd be great. Have him versus 2 powerhouses. That'd be wonderful. I don't want to see Roman versus Brock Lesnar again. I swear to God, if that's the match, I'm not watching it. I will skip that match. I don't give a shit. I will skip that. I'm not going to watch it. I'll just pause it on my iPad, move on to wait until it's over, and then move on to the next one. I'm not watching Roman versus Brock again. I won't do it. Period. So, Bobby Lashley versus Roman Reigns again. please, Lord, don't let it be freaking Roman Reigns that wins this match, solely, and that's it. It's gonna be annoying. So that's pretty much it for Raw. It was an okay show. A lot of matches nobody gives two shits about, but decent ones too. We'll move on to SmackDown here, and this was an interesting match that they had first on SmackDown. They had AJ Styles versus Andrade Almas, and why they had that match is strange, but I'm glad they did because that was a really good match, and that's why I like SmackDown because they actually put AJ. They're making AJ go up against other people besides Shinsuke for the last 3 months. If they start doing this, where they have AJ Styles versus like just a random person, just to kind of give him a little bit of a boost or whatever, then I'd be fine with that. I like this Andrade Almas. So, and he impressed the shit out of me with this match. It was a very good match and very fun to watch. And, they just have to. He just has to, kind of learn a little more, get a little more experience in WWE, have an actual official match with somebody besides, some piece of crap like Sin Cara or whatever. And he can probably move on to really good things. But AJ Styles did end up winning that match. They went backstage and they had Aiden English walk past Lana, apologizing to her for costing Rusev the championship. I have a feeling that Rusev is going to turn on Aiden English at some point, and that Lana's going to be his manager again. I hope that's the case, because Lana and Rusev together are just really fun to watch. But then after that, they had Mandy Rose versus Becky Lynch. And again, who cares? But they're putting Becky Lynch out on the curb. She's just like this, she's been on a streak of wins for the last couple weeks. But, I mean, who cares, man? Why are you putting Becky Lynch out to pasture like that? Even Becky Lynch would be a better person to be a SmackDown women's champion than freaking Carmella. I mean, they're having Carmella. It should be Carmella versus Mandy Rose. Not Becky Lynch versus Mandy Rose. Becky Lynch should be one of the people that are actually competing for the championship, which is freaking stupid. But Becky Lynch did end up being Mandy Rose. Mandy Rose is actually getting up there. She's impressing me a lot. So is Sonya Deville, but I mean, come on. They gotta give her some sort of a push. They had R-Truth and Ty Dillinger backstage, and I haven't seen R-Truth in months, but they had Ty Dillinger versus Samoa Joe. Again, another person in NXT that was hyped up like crazy comes WWE and now he's shit. Was Ty Dillinger. Doesn't make any sense. Samoa Joe completely destroys him, and that was pretty much the end of the match. Then they had The Miz have his Miz TV show, and he was doing like a funeral of Team Hell No because they lost the championship match at Extreme Rules a couple days ago. So now Miz had this thing where he had his show have a funeral for Team Hell No. He did his whole rant, stupid crap, where he says the same thing every single time he does a show. My hand goes up, your mouth goes shut. He says that 17,000 times. It's annoying. Daniel Bryan actually jumps him at the end of this little show that he does, and that was pretty much it was a perfectly good waste of 15 minutes. It was very, very annoying, and it was stupid. But another waste of a match was Kofi Kingston versus Eric Young. Who cares? Eric Young wins the match. And then they had Shinsuke. Now they had the match that we all wanted to see 2 days ago. And now at Extreme Rules, and that was Jeff Hardy versus Shinsuke Nakamura as the last match of the night. And it turned out to be a good match as promised. I wish they would have done this at Extreme Rules, but they didn't. If they would have done this exact same way at Extreme Rules, it would have been perfectly fine. I would have had zero problems with what they did. Having Randy Orton come out, do his thing, beat the crap out of Jeff Hardy after the match was over, or something like that. Even if they had a match, Shinsuke ended up winning the match, and then Randy Orton comes out after the match was over. Why'd it have to be 30 seconds long? I mean, that was one of the matches I'm actually looking forward to seeing. But then I found out why. The reason why they're going through all this stuff with Jeff Hardy is because he's hurting. I guess he has a back injury or something. So he hurt himself, and that's why he can't do any. They didn't have a long match at Extreme Rules, and also because um they're having just Randy Orton beat the crap out of him, so he could take a couple weeks off, come back, have a match against Randy Orton at SummerSlam, and then be done with it for a little bit. So it happened just like that. They had a really good match against each other. It was a long fought match, but then Randy Orton comes out and beats the crap out of Jeff Hardy, and that was the end of Smackdown. So hopefully this will give Jeff Hardy a couple weeks off to kind of recover a little bit. But we'll just have to wait and see. That really sucks that he's actually hurt. But we're gonna move on to the rumors of the day. That was rumors of the week, I should say. For the past few days, WWE's failure to mention Brock Lesnar on Raw this week has led to speculation. I don't need to read about that. Ticket Drew notes that WWE will have a new logo on stage set up for SmackDown Live when it moves to Fox in 2019. Charlotte mentioned on her Instagram that she's back training for her return to WWE television, and she'll be back within a couple weeks. Sasha Banks and Bayley aren't expected to be added to Extreme Rules. We know that already. According to Fightful, Paul Heyman was backstage in Raw in Boston and helped write and produce the opening segment, and Bobby Lashley's interviewed later on in the show. WWE International Stadium shows like Greatest Royal Rumble and Super Showdown could be branded as WrestleMania by 2020. Per Barn Burner, the idea is to hold a WrestleMania in the U.S. in the spring and one in another country in the fall. That sounds pretty cool. I can deal with that. They said Extreme Rules plans to set up Daniel Bryan versus either Kane or Miz at SummerSlam. And more likely now it's going to be Kane or Miz. I mean, because Kane's hurting, so probably going to be Miz at SummerSlam, which is perfectly fine with me. We've been waiting and anticipating this match for like 3 years. Bryan is being advertised for SmackDown taping in September 4th in Detroit, several days after his contract is set to expire, so hopefully he actually signed one. PW Insider reported Dean Ambrose was in Birmingham working on his return to the ring. WrestleVote said that they've heard he won't be back until SummerSlam, likely in September. After SummerSlam, sorry, in September. The Observer is now saying that it's official Brock Lesnar will defend the Universal Championship at SummerSlam. We know that already, but we don't know who it's going to be against. And according to Wrestling Observer newsletter, Rey Mysterio has not actually signed a deal with WWE yet, but the two sides are incredibly close to it. The big issue with it is apparently the All-In event Mysterio has been announced for, and he wants to work the show, but WWE doesn't want him to. Jeff Hardy told the Canton respiratory that his lower back has been bothering him enough lately that he stopped doing swanton bombs at house shows, which is, again, probably the reason why Randy Orton jumped him and why he's probably going to be out for a little bit. Per the Wrestling Advisor newsletter, Observer newsletter, the idea from Vince McMahon continues to be that Brock Lesnar is holding up the Universal Championship and won't come back to drop it. They also say he's under contract through the end of August, so he's probably going to lose at SummerSlam. They also say, however, that there's a push for Ziggler versus Seth Rollins Iron Man match, which actually turned out to be true. There's expectations that Sasha Banks versus Bayley will be featured in a match at SummerSlam, and they'll be given plenty of time to recreate the magic they made Brooklyn years ago. According to the Observer, Charlotte's estimated return date is about 3 weeks from now, so that's good. I'm glad to see her back. PW Insider says that despite his reinstatement into the Hall of Fame, Hulk Hogan has not signed any kind of contract with WWE. He headed back to Florida after Extreme Rules in Pittsburgh and is planned for appearances at this week's Raw or SmackDown. On the other hand, Fightful's Sean Ross Sapp says that he heard Hogan has signed a new deal with WWE. He and Ticket Drew also say Daniel Bryan's new WWE contract is a done deal. According to Brian Alvarez, Hogan's meeting with talent backstage at last night's pay-per-view was a film for an upcoming WWE Network special. Regarding the widely panned Royal Rumble countdowns from the Extreme Rules crowd during the main event, that was hilarious. Alvarez also said that Dolph Ziggler and Seth Rollins requested the clock go back to the screen for timing purposes over the last 10 minutes. That was the best part of the night. Like, they were, every time the clock went down a minute, the crowd would go, count down from 10, and then go, 3, 2, 1, and this is like it would be a Royal Rumble. It was hilarious. That was the best part of the entire night. I think it was Rollins actually cut a smile whenever that happened, or cut a laugh whenever it happened, whenever he wasn't supposed to. That was great. That crowd, that was very clever by that crowd, by the way. I love that. It was wonderful. PW Insider backed WrestleVote's earlier rumor that Roman Reigns versus Bobby Lashley was the planned main event on Sunday night, but that account notes that there were people backstage lobbying for Rollins Ziggler, who apparently won out. There was said to be no support for closing with a WWE title match. Vince McMahon was not backstage at Extreme Rules, according to Wrestling Observer. He had told you. PW Insider said that he did communicate with the people who ran the show, including Triple H and Billy Kidman, who ran Gorilla Position. I mean, sitting at where Randy Orton was hidden on a bus until 30 minutes prior to his return. That site also says that the Iron Man match was set to open Extreme Rules until the match order was changed late in the day of Sunday. Kane suffered a legitimate leg injury prior to pay-per-view, which is the reason why they ran the angle with the Bludgeon Brothers. He was walking around all weekend wearing the boot we saw him wearing in Team Hell No's match. And Dave Meltzer said Observer Radio that Jeff Cobb is signed with Ring of Honor. That's interesting. So those are the rumors floating around and some of the things that they're talking about going on in WWE at the moment. But that's going to end our wrestling recap for the week. It was a fun week. A lot of bullshit matches on Raw and SmackDown, but a lot of good matches on Extreme Rules, so it kind of balanced out to actually be decent matches. Randy Orton is back. Welcome back to him. It's very cool to see him again. And that's pretty much going to have to do it for this week's episode. So thanks for watching. Please don't forget to like and share and subscribe. Put down your comments down below what you thought of the show. I like the show. Thought it was actually a lot of fun. So check it out. Let me know what you think, and we will see you guys next week on next week's recap. Thanks for coming out. Have a great day, and we will see you on the next one. Bye.